Skeeter Carlson is another Washington resident who related his airplane's unique history.
Just as far back as Roosevelt Field Museum under Colonel Jarrett collection, where Cole Palin acquired the airplane in the mid-50s. And then it went to Paul Manson, California to make the Spirit of St. Louis movie.
Skeeter shared his thoughts on the barnstorming era.
Well, that had to have been one of the grassroots of aviation. And the Jenny played a very important part in that. That was the airplane that everybody used. This being the Canuck version, it was supposedly a little lighter and a little more agility because of the dual ailerons.
Chet Peake came from Norman, Oklahoma to exchange flying stories with his peers.
The Jenny was a pretty good airplane. They trained somewhere over 11,000 pilots in World War I. They weren't the death trap or the airplane that was dangerous at all. They're very safe, well constructed airplane, very strong.
Preserving this piece of aviation history was important to Ray and Connie Folsom.
You feel like you've accomplished something, preserving something that people in the future are just not going to see after so long. I believe old airplanes are meant to be in the sky and not hanging in museums.
The last Jenny was in the EAA Air Adventure Museum. Kermit Weeks bought Dan Newman's airplane and participated in the reunion. More than any other airplane, the Jenny brought aviation to the American public. How fitting that the reunion of Jennies at Oshkosh 89 played a similar role.
What I enjoyed most was looking around and there's nothing but Jennies in the sky. That's the only experience you're going to get like that is here at Oshkosh.
The impressive skills and indomitable spirit of the early barnstormers have evolved over time. Even Charles Lindbergh, who stunned the world with his solo flight across the Atlantic in 1927, began his aviation career as a barnstormer. The airplanes that Lindbergh and other barnstormers flew have also evolved into today's powerful, technologically advanced machines. During the 1989 fly-in, EAA's International Aerobatic Club showcased the barnstormers of yesterday and today during a special History of Aerobatics.
I'm Vern Dahlman. I'm from Esparto, California, Northern California. This is my airplane. This is an exact replica of the Lincoln Beechey Little Looper from 1912, and I perform aerobatics on it.
Lincoln Beechey was one of the first pilots to fly upside down, complete an outside loop, and perform a tailspin. Vern Dahlman brought a replica of Beechey's Little Looper to Oshkosh and performed several of those same maneuvers. Bob Wyjack thrilled the crowd with his Waco taper wing. Dave Dacey performed in his Bucher Jungmeister. Here's Gene Littlefield in a 450 Stearman. This pit special is piloted by Bob Herendeen. Renowned air show performer Marion Cole puts this decathlon through its paces. Bob Davis and his laser were followed by Clint McHenry in his Extra 300.
This is probably the biggest air show in the world, and it's like the Masters golf tournament in that this is a knowledgeable audience, as opposed to the average air show, which may have 5 or 10%, if you really have an interested crowd, 5 or 10% who know what they're looking at. Here, 75% know what they're looking at, so it's a knowledgeable crowd.
Pilot Gene Soucy and wing walker Teresa Stokes perform in a modified showcat. The Red Baron Squadron is comprised of these beautiful steermen.
It's a wonderful exhibition. He's never seen so many aviation lovers in one place before. And on behalf of everybody, all the Soviet delegation here, he wants to thank all of the organizers and especially Pompano Air Center for making it all possible.
Yevgeny Frolov and his Sukhoi Su-26M added an international flavor to the aerobatic routines. A powerful airplane and skillful pilot captured the attention and the hearts of all who saw them perform. Airshow performers at EAA Oshkosh are the best in the world. They volunteer their time and efforts for the enjoyment of all. Here's a taste of those who performed at Oshkosh 89.
Coming down the slip. We're now coming back. We're on our approach speed. We come back to 160, which is actually going to be our threshold speed as well. Where's all the snow gone?
The next pass through, do y'all think somebody could bring me my stomach?
Okay, visor up. Visor 300. Jump. 250. Concorde's on the ground. Nice to see you all.
we prepared to disembark in front of that magnificent crowd, it struck me that Concorde is as much a time machine as it is an airplane. A beautiful magic carpet that could whisk us from Buckingham Palace to the EAA Aviation Center in Oshkosh without even breathing hard. It was hard to overcome the feeling that I was saying goodbye to a very special friend. Each had thoughts about Concorde that he wanted to share.
Welcome, John Cook here. And we've got to outfit him correct with our Oshkosh 85 Concorde cap to prove that it really came. So, John, you got to change uniforms.
How's that?
Bob Collins.
Thank you, Tom. The flight was terrific today. It's almost unbelievable, especially after we spent 8 hours yesterday in the simulator with this guy putting me through paces. It's just amazing. It was the thrill of a lifetime. We were delighted to be here. Thank you.
If a supersonic transport were to land any place in the Midwest, there's only one place that it should land. That's right here in Oshkosh at the EAA convention.
The 1985 convention also featured a moving, heartfelt tribute to veterans of the Vietnam War.
The 1985 edition was special unto itself. The entire convention came to attention for a long overdue tribute to the people and machines that served during the longest, most controversial war in our history, the war in Vietnam.
The colorful Italian jet team, Frecce Tricolori, performed for the first time in North America at EAA Oshkosh 86.
Another first for Oshkosh. The first visit to North America by the Frecce Tricolori, the Italian military aerobatic team that really had Oshkosh buzzing the entire week of the convention. Each day they flew, and when they did, ground activities stood still. MB 339A jet trainers in the air at one time. Or did they somehow meld themselves into one wing? This 313th Aerobatic Training Squadron is chosen by a rigid screening of the various flying units of Italy's Air Force. They are more than performers. They're ambassadors.
The 1986 convention also saw two very unique aircraft with very different performance characteristics.
A very special visitor to Oshkosh 86 was Steve Pitcairn's autogyro, designed and built by Steve's father Harold in 1931. Many people consider this the predecessor to the modern-day helicopter. Another classic making an appearance at Oshkosh 86 was the Goodyear blimp America. Slipping through the air at a leisurely 35 miles per hour, this 192-foot-long behemoth was a showstopper each time it left its moorings. More than 202,000 cubic feet of helium fill America's rubber-coated polyester fabric envelope. Power is supplied by twin 6-cylinder, 210-horsepower engines. A crew of 22, including 5 pilots, a public relations representative, and 16 crewmen, along with 4 specially equipped ground support vehicles, make America self-sustaining in the field. Come aboard as EAA Foundation board member Bob Collins gets a lesson in flying the blimp.
Right now. In other words, down 2 degrees. We're going to go down about 30 degrees now.
All right, let's see a 30-degree down, and that was 2 degrees. Oh, right! Look at that, 28, 29. Oh, how fast are we falling? What's our...
We only came down 100 feet.
But it really looks dramatic, doesn't it?
That's what the space shuttle comes in at.
You can't stall this, right? You were telling Tom you can't stall it?
No, you cannot stall it. Well, Bob, are you ready for your lesson? And
I get a lesson in this?
Well, we're going to teach you. Come on, I think we'll have some fun.
Okay, let's try this now. Okay, you hold the mic.
Okay. Have a seat. Okay, now we're going to make a right turn, so push your right foot in real hard.
Real hard?
And we'll turn to the right. Don't worry about the nose going down. That's perfectly... No, we're not going down. We're not going down.
We look like we're spiraling.
Yeah, now push your left foot all the way in. As far in as you can push it.
Oh.
Harder, harder, harder. And we'll turn back into the wind again.
That's hard to push. This is not hydraulic power.
Oh, no. It's all foot power and leg power.
Whoa.
Okay, now we're going to start with your right foot back in again, and that'll stop the turn, and we'll just go straight ahead.
Okay.
Now, we're just going to continue going this way because the wind's right on our nose right now. Now, let's take the wheel and wheel it forward. That's exact. That's the elevator, and we're going to now use 2 hands.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys.
No, hold it. You got to hold it.
But we're going down.
Yeah, that's the right way. We're really not going down yet. See that?
We aren't. Oh my God! Look at that.
Now let go of the wheel, and it'll just level right off.
Just let go and it'll level off.
See, it levels right off.
Wow, this has got to take a lot. There's a lot of lag. This has got to take a lot of getting used to.
Yeah. Well, Bob, how does it feel to be a blimp pilot?
At this point, I'm wandering all over the sky. This is real exciting. Okay.
How about climbing up now? Let's wheel this on back.
Okay, we don't have to worry about power.
Oh, no.
Okay.
We climb at 30 miles an hour. We descend at 30 miles an hour.
Cruise at 30 miles an hour. Okay, here we go.
Keep on going. And let's see if we can go straight ahead now.
Straight ahead and maximum.
See, now we're going up 15 degrees right here.
Whoa.
20 degrees.
We're pointed towards the sky. Well, we're having fun now.
Let go of the wheel.
Let go.
And it'll level right off. Now let's go into a descent now. Go right on in.
Okay, right
Yeah. Okay. Now we're going to go right on down. Don't let go of the wheel.
Okay.
Now push your right foot in real hard, and we'll make a right descending turn.
Look at this. Snap roll.
Now your left foot. Just push your left foot all the way in. Let go of the wheel.
Let go of the wheel. And
Push your left foot all the way in. Get it? All the way. Yeah, all the way. There you go. And we'll level off, and we'll turn to the left.
Woo! I tell you, you'll build up your legs on this thing. Oh, this could get to be habit forming. I tell you, this is great.
1986 was the summer of the hit movie Top Gun and EAA's celebration of 75 years of naval aviation.
Speed 2.3 Mach, which is on the order of 1,600 miles an hour, I guess. Max altitude greater than 50,000 feet, although we usually don't go up there too much. Normal takeoff weights on the order of 60,000 pounds. Normal landing weights 52,000 pounds as it sits here right now. I think we could beat a drag racer on the catapult there. We can get that 60,000 pounds up to 160 miles an hour in about 3 seconds. Off the cat. And stop it. Our landing speed is about 140 miles an hour, so, and we come to a stop in about 300 feet, which is 2 or 3 seconds. Be a part of it here. It's a great time to be a naval aviator.
It was a summer in which the film Top Gun focused attention on naval aviators who strive to be the best of the best. And the machines they fly. It was a time to recall beginnings and salute the valiant. The aviator's missing man formation is a moving spectacle. It is the only tribute a pilot can pay to a fallen comrade that a non-pilot cannot. The Navy's anniversary presents gave attendees first-hand looks at state-of-the-art equipment, such as the F-14 Tomcat, the F-18 Hornet, and the AV-8B Harrier II, the improved version of the vertical takeoff and landing British Harrier.
If the Harrier isn't enough to make your head spin, how about these modern-day barnstormers, as described by EAA member Cliff Robertson?
During the Oshkosh Convention, an air show is held every afternoon. Some days, as many as 250,000 people come to watch, more than the Indianapolis 500, more than the Kentucky Derby. Why hasn't the supersonic airline travel to Europe or a generation of space travel rendered these air shows passé? Who are these spiritual offspring of the barnstormers, and why do they do this?
It's the love. It's the fascination, the dedication that grows on you. And many times I'm asked why put this time in it. I think it is something that's really born into you. I think it's your heart, your soul. Some people look at being a doctor or a surgeon, and there's nothing else. Sure, there's money in that, but that's not the primary motivating factor. There's a fascination with it. And there's a fascination with this, for me, certainly, and there has been ever since I watched Dwayne Cole and Bob Hoover in the 1964 Reno air races, and I thought to myself, if you can fly an airplane like that, there's not anything else to say in aviation.
Julie Clark has been an air show soloist since 1980. She's also an airline pilot. She is the daughter of an airline captain who was killed in an aviation accident.
As soon as I knew what an airplane was and the beauty of flight, I knew I was going to fly someday. And I can recall, honestly, when I was about 8 years old, I knew I was going to be a pilot someday. And I would beg him to take me out of school, let me play hooky for a day or two and go fly trips with him. And from there, I learned to fly when I was in college. And unfortunately, my father never lived to see me solo, which has really always been a sad thing for me because I knew he'd be very proud. Well, I like the people, of course, and the kids that are really inspired by all this. But as far as flying air shows, you're right. I'm trying to at least, break even, if nothing else, because when you lose money, it hurts, especially if you blow up an engine or something, which I have done. But I'm probably going to stay in it just as long as the people keep asking me to come back. And if they are enjoying what I love doing, then I enjoy doing it for them. And Oshkosh we're all volunteers, but I come back to see the people and the friends I see only maybe once a year. And if somebody is happy to watch me fly, that makes me satisfied too.
The looping, spinning, rolling, diving maneuvers that characterize airshow flying have, through the years, been formalized into a structured competition called aerobatics. At 61 years of age, Clint McHenry is the reigning national aerobatic champion. Prior to flying his routine at Oshkosh, he mentally walks through every maneuver. The pilots call it the Arresti dance, named after a famous Spanish pilot.
The pleasure of operating an airplane on the edge of its envelope and performing a figure, or each figure, virtually perfectly, is a tremendous satisfaction. And I'll be trying to do this throughout the routine. I am presently 61, and I was 60 when I won the national championship just last year. So I really don't think, I hope I'm correct, I don't think age has anything to do with this. I believe that we can continue. We just watched Dwayne Cole fly a few moments ago, and Dwayne just told me, I believe just a little while ago, that he was 65 or 66. So I don't... It is dangerous. There's no doubt about it. And you always have to keep in mind the fact that the ground is very close to you at all times, and one bad move, and that's the end. So we're all very much aware of that. But we practice, and we practice, and practice, and anyway, it's exciting.
Bob Hoover, World War II ace, test pilot, air show performer. He creates the loudest silence you will ever hear when he swoops before the crowd with both his engines off.
let's throttle back from high-powered aerobatics to the relaxing, even romantic era of antique and classic airplanes.
Trying to represent in the antique classic, what would you say, philosophy of things, and that's the romance of early sport flying, early aviation, the early private aviation thing, when classic designs like the Navions out here, 120s and 140s, were coming to the forefront, and so the more modern aircraft just doesn't get that idea across.
The commanding presence of the U.S. Air Force's B-1B bomber could be felt immediately upon its arrival at the 1988 EAA fly-in.
Later that same day, at the conclusion of the afternoon air show, the U.S. Air Force's high-tech B-1B bomber swept over the north-south runway in an awesome display of size, speed, and maneuverability. Astonishingly quiet for such a large and powerful jet, the long-range strategic bomber looked nothing short of menacing with its size, incredible performance characteristics, and combat paint speed. Designed for high-speed, low-level penetration of enemy territory, the B-1B is powered by 4 General Electric turbofan engines, each capable of generating more than 30,000 pounds of thrust. From nose to tail, the airplane measures 147 feet. It stands 34 feet tall. The structure of the B-1B is made primarily of aluminum alloys and titanium. It can fly nearly 7,500 miles without refueling and has a maximum operating weight of nearly 500,000 pounds. This was the airplane's first visit to Oshkosh, and one of its first visits to a non-military facility.
Ever try to describe the concepts of speed, precision, and excitement? All you really need to say is, the Eagles.
For years, pilots have built or modified airplanes to improve their performance capabilities. Today, no other type of flying tests the strength and structural integrity of an airplane like aerobatics. The Eagles aerobatic team is among the most popular air show performers in the world. Their airplanes? Home builds, of course. Kristen Eagles. performers is a tribute to the skill of the pilots and to the airplane's designers and builders.
Yes, the grace, beauty, speed, and power. The unique qualities of all the aircraft you've seen are fitting tributes not only to those who do the actual flying, but also to the men and women who design, build, restore, and maintain them. While the pilots and their incredible skills often receive the lion's share of attention, the true focal point at Oshkosh remains with the home builder. with the craftsmanship and commitment to quality that are lovingly built into every airplane carrying the experimental designation.
Into a brand new world you swept, leave your cares behind. Write a dream you won't forget. Something in the air. The biggest, smallest, best thing of all. Airplanes everywhere, from every port of call. Whitfield is where they come, and you can bet before they're done, you will find your dream. Dream shared by everyone. The magic moves me, the higher and higher we fly. You and I. It lasts forever. Only till my next ride. Something in the air. I see a white and blue, old airplanes are new. Everybody stares. Home builds are up there too. And the air show stage is set for a military jet. It's the Warbird Show. Stick around, don't leave just yet. Something in the air. We all share. It lasts forever, or is it only till my next ride? Something in the air. There is no time to wait. Let's all celebrate. Nothing can compare. To feel this way, we're on our way. Higher and higher and higher and higher we fly.
The 1989 EAA Fly-In Convention is still weeks away, but already final preparations are nearly complete. Soon, every available space will be filled. Preparing the vast convention site for the world's largest annual aviation event is a monumental challenge. Volunteers from throughout the country and around the world arrive weeks, sometimes months ahead of time. Some help put up fencing. Others work in the volunteer kitchen, helping to feed the hungry troops. Still others paint signs and buildings. The tasks are as varied as the people themselves. Across the field at EAA's Kermit Weeks hangar, a very special reunion begins to unfold. 6 Curtiss Jennies arrived prior to opening day. It was the first time in nearly 50 years such a substantial group of Jennies were brought back together. The Jenny reunion in Oshkosh offered a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to see this historic airplane. For the second year in a row, Warren Jolly's Baking Deuce was the first home-built to arrive. The volunteer kitchen offers a place to relax, meet old friends, and make many new ones. Friendships formed at Oshkosh last a lifetime. The roar of jet engines signaled another early arrival. The Combat Jets Flying Museum of Houston, Texas brought their MiG-15, A-4 Skyhawk, and F-86 Sabre to Oshkosh. A total of 6 jets from the museum arrived almost a week before opening day. Work details completed their final assignments just as the convention site began to fill. An empty campground quickly filled with visitors anxious for opening day. Campers were among the first to see and hear the historic arrival of an aircraft from the Soviet Union. This Antonov AN-124 cargo jet lumbered into Oshkosh with a crew of 23. The Soviet visit generated a tremendous amount of interest along the Oshkosh flight line and amongst the international news media that came to Oshkosh for the fly-in. A member of the Soviet contingent explained what he hoped to see at Oshkosh.
No, first of all, we would like to see really what kind of aircraft would be here, what pilots would be present here, to meet them and exchange the views and opinions like that.
You have a general interest?
Yeah, only.
The massive jet delivered 2 Soviet aerobatic airplanes that are being exported to the West for the first time. The airplanes, Sukhoi Su-26Ms, were on static display throughout convention week and flew in the daily air shows. As the Antonov and her crew watched intently, an American C-5 Galaxy roared by overhead. The Air Force cargo jet delivered a portion of the National Aeronautics and Space Administration's exhibit, a scale mock-up of the National Aerospace Plane. Finally, opening day arrived, but the early morning quiet was soon displaced by late aircraft arrivals that filled Whitman Regional Airport to capacity, and tens of thousands of people who literally covered the convention site. EAA Oshkosh is something that must be experienced firsthand if it is to be fully appreciated. In this one place, at this one special time, you are surrounded by airplanes that represent the entire aviation spectrum, from Jennies to jets and everything in between. You can start with the home builds, airplanes that sit on the cutting edge of aviation technology. Antiques and classics nearby bring back memories of aviation's golden years. In the midst of all these vintage airplanes, you'll find a Soviet cargo jet, its American counterpart, the C-5. The latest fighters from America's military inventory, a Lancaster bomber, a B-29 bomber, a DC-2, and a 747 jumbo jet. To the north are warbird aircraft that helped preserve one of the most important chapters not only in aviation history, but in American and world history as well. Look up and see the world's top air show performers each day. Educational forums and workshops attract standing room only crowds. These are the true focus of the week's activities. Everyone is here, including the leading aircraft suppliers and manufacturers. Keep your eyes open. You might bump into Bert Rutan, shuttle pilot Hoot Gibson, Paul Poberezny, or some other familiar name in aviation. 1989 marked the end of a decade, but at Oshkosh, the constraints of time evaporate. A walk along the flight line becomes a walk through aviation history, page by page. In 1903, Orville and Wilbur Wright became the first pilots to achieve level, powered flight on the sand dunes of Kitty Hawk. The Wright brothers dominated the early years of flying. Others soon followed. In 1909, Louis Blériot successfully crossed the English Channel in an airplane of his own design. The next decade saw continued improvement in the design and construction of airplanes. Glenn Martin, Thomas Sopwith, Anthony Fokker, and Glenn Curtiss all contributed greatly to aviation technology. During EAA Oshkosh 89, a singular airplane from this exciting era was honored for its lasting effect on aviation, the Curtiss Jenny. Ken Hyde, who coordinated the Jenny reunion, flew his airplane to Oshkosh from Warrenton, Virginia. The last time he made the trip, in 1987, his Jenny won the Antique Grand Champion Trophy.
The Jenny is a romance airplane for a number of people. It basically brought aviation to a lot of people in this country. It was either their first airplane they ever saw or the first airplane they ever rode in. We have about 12,000 hours documented in the restoration. It took a great deal of time. There was a lot of frustration, a lot of aggravation, but it was worth every second of it. And more so in the appreciation of the people that come to Oshkosh. If I've heard it once, I've heard it 1,000 times. You know, thanks for coming and thanks for bringing your aircraft. We certainly enjoyed it, and that made it all worthwhile.
Wally Olson brought his airplane from the state of Washington. What did he think of flying his Jenny at this reunion?
Well, it was just a nice feeling of being up there, and then nostalgia. A lot of the old pilots must have felt about seeing something that they saw fly, back in World War I and afterward, and during the barnstorming days. It was just a real nice, deep feeling to be up there and have that going on.
Skeeter Carlson is another Washington resident who related his airplane's unique history.
Just as far back as Roosevelt Field Museum under Colonel Jarrett collection, where Cole Palin acquired the airplane in the mid-50s. And then it went to Paul Matz in California to make the Spirit of St. Louis movie.
Skeeter shared his thoughts on the barnstorming era.
Well, that had to have been one of the grassroots of aviation. And the Jenny played a very important part in that. That was the airplane that everybody used. This being the Canuck version, it was supposedly a little lighter and a little more agility because of the dual ailerons.
Chet Peake came from Norman, Oklahoma to exchange flying stories with his peers.
The Jenny was a pretty good airplane. They trained somewhere over 11,000 pilots in World War I. They weren't the death trap or the airplane that was dangerous at all. They're very safe, well constructed airplane, very strong.
Preserving this piece of aviation history was important to Ray and Connie Folsom.
You feel like you've accomplished something, preserving something that people in the future are just not going to see after so long. I believe old airplanes are meant to be in the sky and not hanging in museums.
The last Jenny was in the EAA Air Adventure Museum. Kermit Weeks bought Dan Newman's airplane and participated in the reunion. More than any other airplane, the Jenny brought aviation to the American public. How fitting that the reunion of Jennies at Oshkosh 89 played a similar role.
What I enjoyed most was looking around and there's nothing but Jennies in the sky. That's the only experience you're going to get like that is here at Oshkosh.
The impressive skills and indomitable spirit of the early barnstormers have evolved over time. Even Charles Lindbergh, who stunned the world with his solo flight across the Atlantic in 1927, began his aviation career as a barnstormer. The airplanes that Lindbergh and other barnstormers flew have also evolved into today's powerful, technologically advanced machines. During the 1989 fly-in, EAA's International Aerobatic Club showcased the barnstormers of yesterday and today during a special History of Aerobatics.
I'm Vern Dahlman. I'm from Esparto, California, Northern California. This is my airplane. This is an exact replica of the Lincoln Beachy Little Looper from 1912, and I perform aerobatics on it.
Lincoln Beachy was one of the first pilots to fly upside down, complete an outside loop, and perform a tailspin. Vern Dahlman brought a replica of Beachy's Little Looper to Oshkosh and performed several of those same maneuvers. Bob Lyjak thrilled the crowd with his Waco taper wing. Dave Dacey performed in his Bucher Jungmeister. Here's Gene Littlefield in a 450 Stearman. This pit special is piloted by Bob Herendeen. Renowned air show performer Marion Cole puts this decathlon through its paces. Bob Davis and his laser were followed by Clint McHenry in his Extra 300.
This is probably the biggest air show in the world. And it's like the Masters Golf Tournament in that this is a knowledgeable audience, as opposed to the average air show, which may have 5 or 10%, if you really have an interested crowd, 5 or 10% who know what they're looking at. Here, 75% know what they're looking at, so it's a knowledgeable crowd.
Pilot Gene Soucy and wing walker Teresa Stokes perform in a modified showcat. The Red Baron Squadron is comprised of these beautiful steermen.
It's a wonderful exhibition. He's never seen so many aviation lovers in one place before. And on behalf of everybody, all the Soviet delegation here, he wants to thank all of the organizers and especially Pompano Air Center for making it all possible.
Yevgeny Frolov and his Sukhoi Su-26M added an international flavor to the aerobatic routines. The powerful airplane and skillful pilot captured the attention and the hearts of all who saw them perform. Airshow performers at EAA Oshkosh are the best in the world. They volunteer their time and efforts for the enjoyment of all. Here's a taste of those who performed at Oshkosh 89.